Pound Lake Beach, Illinois.
Hello and happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday. Thanks so much for tuning into 98.3 FM, The Life. You're listening to Bacon Bits with Matt for Happiness, and I'm your host, Marty Jalevin. I come at you every single Monday night at 7 o'clock to talk about your job, your career, your vision made clear, the skills that you hone for the business that you own, the ups and downs, the smiles and frowns, where you're at and where you're bound. This is Bacon Bits with Master Happiness. And what we do is we try to bring you some great guests to talk about some really interesting topics that affect your life and your business. And today is by no means an exception to that. Today, I have my good friend. Some of you might recognize his voice. A lot of people think that it's his show, but that's a whole different story. We're going to correct them on that. But today, we're going to be talking a little bit about AI. And so before we go on, I want to talk about this. I'm kind of call this show Beyond the AI Hype, Understanding and Overcoming the Fear of Artificial Intelligence. So before we jump into this, Joe, say hello to the world.
Marty, how are you? Am I live? Can you hear my mic? I don't think we can.
There
we go. Yeah.
I had to kick it up a notch.
Well, I just want to say thanks for coming on tonight. And
oh, it's always a pleasure to be a guest on my show. Yeah. Yes.
No, this is going to be a good conversation. I think it's an exciting topic. I think we're at an exciting time in the world, and very exciting. So I want to jump into this. Take us away,
Joe. Before we start, and I know you're always shy about this, but tell the world who you are. Why in God's name would I ask you to be on the show another time?
It's my hair.
That's good. That's right. We're brothers from the same barber.
I am Joe Janicki. I am the agency owner of Brightway Insurance, the Janicki Agency in Lake Zurich. Why do you keep having me?
I don't know. I know. I cut your mic off.
No. Yeah, that's basically me.
That's beautiful. What a great intro. All right. So I'll tell you what, one of the reasons I always have Joe in here is that Joe's philosophy in life is always help first. And we quickly became good friends. And the reason for him, I'm always inviting him on the show here, and because the same reason I lean on him for some help, I hopefully give him some support as well, is because he has got a really open mind. He looks at the world in a different way, in a way that I believe most of us should be looking at it. He wants to help as many people as possible in any way that's possible. And so when I started talking about AI, I thought, you know what, Joe would be a really great guy. Maybe not an expert in AI, but we're going to learn what he does know. We're going to learn what I know about AI. All right. But I just want to get into this because I want to help people eliminate that fear of AI with this show. This is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about some of the things that happen. We're going to talk about why people are a little apprehensive, why they're afraid. And hopefully with my help and my good friend Joe here, we're going to alleviate some of those fears. So before we get into this, I just want to read this kind of quick thing. Artificial intelligence, AI, is no longer a concept confined to sci-fi movies or futuristic novels. It is here right now. It's shaping the way businesses operate, how we interact with technology, and even how we make everyday decisions. From algorithms that curate your Spotify playlist to chatbots that answer your customer service queries in seconds, AI has become a subtle but powerful part of our lives. All right. But AI takes on more significant roles. As AI takes on more significant roles, it comes with its share of apprehension. Why are businesses and consumers afraid of AI? How can we move past the fears and harness its full potential? So in this, we're going to start talking about that right from the very beginning. So, Joe, right before I throw it back to you, I'm going to admit I was one of those people that when it started like coming out into the forefront, it's always been there subtly. It's been in the subtle background for a while in all kinds of things, and it was okay. And I liked it being there helping me, sorting out, automatically putting emails in my junk file. It would automatically interpret what was happening. I liked those kinds of things. But the more it came out into the forefront, more people started talking about it, I was afraid. I'm like, this is going to steal my job. What am I going to do? The robots are coming. I'm waiting for the knock on the door, and there'll be some big robot here going, we don't need you anymore. Okay. And so in the beginning, I was spooked by the process of AI, the idea of AI, the idea that the robots are really going to come over. And I know most of the hype is set up from movies. All right. And these sci-fi novels, anything like that, that paints technology in a bad way. And so over time, what I did was I just jumped right in, and I use AI on a regular basis for graphic design, for writing, for helping me just curate my writing, for helping me improve the way that I present myself in so many ways. So it has quickly become indispensable. All right. And so we're going to get into that, but I want to hear your initial reactions as it was growing, as you were introduced to it. What were your feelings on it, Joe?
Completely honest, I was excited.
Really?
I've always been excited. I know there's been a lot of fear of what's going to happen with AI, and it's, of course, back to your sci-fi comment, it's going to take over the world, and it's going to eliminate all the humans. And it has sat in some way, shape, or form in the background being used. And we look at like Google and machine learning, and we were talking about this on the way over, the things that it's been able to do, even in its early infancy. And then we look at how frustrated we get when it doesn't perform the way we want it to perform, right? How many times have you tried to ask Siri for something and you're like, that stupid phone doesn't understand
it doesn't, right.
But then when it does, and it does everything you want it to do and more, you get frightened. Like, no, but that's what you wanted.
Right.
So I am extremely excited. I think the technology is really cool. I think the functionality of it and the things that we can do with it are just limitless, and really, really in an exciting time right now with AI.
I'm agreeing with you. And so take a look at all of technology. And I really want everyone to think about this from as simple as when we were writing with a plume. Okay, we grabbed a bird feather and dipped it in ink and wrote on it. Okay, before that, what were they taking? Rocks or blood or some primitive paint to paint on the side of a cave wall. Okay, and then the technology came in saying, why do we have to write on the side of a cave wall? I can't take the cave with me. Okay, so we're going to start saying, what can we do to bring this writing, these stories along with us? And fast forward, it went to the printing press. All of a sudden, went from people scribing, handwriting everything. All right. I just picture monks in a monastery copying the Bible over and over and over again. And then they create the printing press, right? And all of a sudden, that type of information is spread across the land so quickly. Yeah. And what do you think the fear there? There was so much religious fear because, the common man shouldn't be connected to that much intelligence. They shouldn't have to know everything.
Right.
So it was petrifying.
Yeah.
All right. And it just continues to get better and better. My access to information is quicker and quicker. And for the winners, and I'm really gonna separate these people from the winners in the world, the people who embrace it, all right, and say, I want to be a lifelong learner. I want as much information. I get to the point now, I love how you said when Siri gets it right, we're like, we're all excited, maybe a little afraid, but when Siri gets it wrong, we're like, what's wrong with this computer, right?
Stupid thing.
Yeah, exactly. But I want information faster and faster, and I'm constantly like going, how can I get that knowledge into my brain even quicker?
Yeah.
Okay, and I think that is the kind of my favorite addiction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're not wrong. And I think I look back and you're looking at the evolution of like where we came from and where we're at now. I mean, people used to, campaign for political, positions by book, like write a book about somebody and get it out there. I mean, it was like, I'd love to go back to that, by the way. I think
that might be better.
I hate political seasons right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just, it's, you're right. The crave for information, the crave to have that information faster, the crave to be able to utilize that information faster. I think about all the menial tasks that we do in a day, and how many of those tasks can just be lifted off your plate. Right. But I look at I'm looking at the evolution of even the automobile. Right?
Okay. Sure.
And I look at the progression of where we came from. I worked, in retail automotive for a long time. And I remember when Lexus came out with their self-driving or self-parking car.
Yeah.
I think it was around 2007.
Okay.
And they had an LS, and this thing would, back itself into a parallel park itself.
Yeah.
And it was really, really cool. And you think about that technology probably was developed 5 years prior to that hitting the road.
Exactly.
But then fast forward, and I can tell you that with the advancements in autonomous driving and the advancements in, EVs, I have an 8-year-old son. who I told you on the way over. I've been saying for the last 5, 6, 7 years that he probably will never drive a car.
Correct.
And for no other reason than that technology is here, that technology works, and that technology is only getting better every single day. We look at Waymo, and I don't know, I'd have to look it up to see how long Waymo's been in business, but they have been driving autonomous cabs in Vegas and Nevada, or Las Vegas and I believe Arizona, for quite a while now. Without incident.
Correct.
And they're really good at it. And if you can make that work on a scale here in a suburban area or in a city area where we already have a society that kids don't want to get their driver's licenses, kids aren't excited about. I mean, how many families do you know where their kids don't actually get a license till 17, right? Or 18 or 19, or like, and the parents are pushing them because they're tired of driving them around, right? So we get to a society where cars are so smart and autonomous driving is so advanced, which isn't that far away.
No,
we're talking a couple of years, to where you now no longer even need to own a vehicle.
Right.
That vehicle is
you said now, maybe not now, maybe not exactly now, but in a couple of years.
How about a subscription service where you can push a button on your phone and have something pull up to your car or to your house within a minute or 2 minutes, and you hop in, it takes you where you need to be, you get out, and now I no longer own that vehicle. I don't need to own that vehicle. Right. So how cool would that be? And again, it's not that far away. It is right here on our back door. So those are the things that really get me excited, because think about what you do with your life and how life changes and how it just, I don't say it's frightening. I say we're progressing, right? We're getting better. Everything's getting better, and it's getting better for us, which then allows us to do more things with our time that we would normally spend doing these tasks. Maybe we have more meaningful conversations. Maybe we build deeper relationships with each other, right? There's so much more to do that AI can just take off our lap.
Right. So I want to go back. I want to get back to what you're talking about, the cars, because I do believe there's something incredible about that. When you said, let's go back with cars, I want to go back even further, because I really want people to understand that this is just the evolution of technology. Go back when man first domesticated a horse. Right. And he was just running around going, I need to move a little quicker. I need to be able to move from here to here without exhausting myself. So he immediately goes to the beast of burden, right? Where he is using oxen to help plow the field. He's riding horses to get around. Right. And probably the first people who watched somebody climb on top of a horse was probably like, what are you doing? Don't get off that. You're going to hurt yourself, that whole bit. Right. And then once that became commonplace, it was like, everyone should have a horse, right? And then you fast forward a little bit where all of a sudden I just picture some old West town and someone driving in with the first vehicle. It might have been a steam-powered car, right? Where they're like, I just need to throw some logs in here and I need some more water. And all of a sudden this thing is moving. And they're like, well, this is foolish. Why would you possibly want that when you've got a perfectly good horse?
Yeah.
Okay. And horses then, they're not completely gone, but there ain't many horses walking around Round Lake.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. And so it's just a natural progression. And I think every once in a while, my advice to everyone, when you are spooked by what is happening here, is take a deep breath and look backwards and say, this is not the beginning of something terrible. This is just part of this overall evolution that we're just constantly working on a system, a way to make our life easier.
100%,
okay. Yeah. And like you said, why should I drive the car? The amount of times that humans make emotional decisions while driving a car, causing accidents, not paying attention. Think about all the people getting in cars after drinking, getting in cars, trying to text somebody, getting in cars, talking to the person next to them. We take driving so casually. We look upon driving as if it's no big deal, but yet you're driving around a 2,000-pound hunk of metal that can cause serious damage. So why not automate that So then I can search my phone. I can talk to the people inside the car. I could do work. Imagine a day when you get in the car with your laptop and you're able to sit there and start doing work before you get to the office.
Yes.
Because the car is bringing you there.
Yes.
Yeah. I love the idea completely.
Yeah. And who does your wife yell at that point?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're tailgating or whatever else, right?
Right.
I just looked online. I just wanted to see Waymo was, they've been around since 2009.
Okay.
Their cars hit the road in October of 2020. So for 5 years, they've been driving without incident, without drivers.
Nice.
And I know the progression that AI can take in just a matter of 6 months.
Right.
But when you look at 5 years of doing this, I mean, it's incredible to know where they started and where they're at today and where they're going to be in another 3 years, 2 years, right? So yeah, I'm excited. There is nothing when you talk about this. I would love to just hop in the back of a car and pull up and get back to my life and not have to worry about. I mean, I like driving. I think it's fun. Yeah. Right. But I mean, on a daily basis, I don't really care.
To get to the station today, you and I drove together. You drove. To me, I prefer that.
Right.
You know, I want to call you every day.
On the way home, can you just sit in the back?
Yeah, exactly. That would be nice. And then I'll just ignore you.
Right.
Right. Okay. I think that it's also important to understand that AI is very important in the technology of a smartphone in a smart car. I don't want people to go, well, that's a different thing. It's artificial intelligence is what makes these cars interpret their surroundings. It's not just a car doesn't have a camera and saying, if it's a red light, stop.
Yeah.
Okay. It's doing so much more than that.
Right.
And I think it's just a wonderful piece. They're a piece of technology that we're going to be, we're going to jump into. And I know that there's people our age that are like, I'm not jumping into a driverless car. I'm afraid. But this next generation is so much more open to it. And the next generation, like your son who's 8, by the time he gets to that age, he'll be like, yeah, why would you drive? He'll be telling the stories. My father used to actually have to drive these cars. Like he had a wheel. He had to determine where it was going.
Right.
And everyone was like, really? How many people did he kill?
Right.
And so I just think, why not eliminate that? And we trust it with so many other things. The cars are just one of these things. But here's one of the fears. And I do want to talk about this, and I want to get your opinion on this. And we when Joe and is on the show here, and the two of us are talking, we pick this topic, and we try not to talk too much about it beforehand, so that we see what's your stance, and maybe I can learn something from Joe, and maybe he can learn something from me, and we go back and forth with this. So, Uber and Lyft, okay, two great services that are already getting people used to going from place to place without their own vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can go here, I can go there. I mean, so many people are saying, hey, we're going to go out to a party. I'll just Uber to the party or Lyft to the party. Because then if I drink too much, or if I'm just too tired, I'll just Uber back home. I'll be fine. So they're getting people more and more used to that. It's a step well beyond taking a cab somewhere, right? What happens, Joe, when all of those Uber drivers and Lyft drivers and cab drivers become autonomous vehicles? All right. What happens to all of those people? Like those people who their livelihood was around driving.
Sure.
All right. So any thoughts on that? And I know I'm throwing you on the spot completely.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And like anything, I think there's an evolution, right?
Yes.
It's really, it's just figuring out where do you go. I mean, I feel safer on the road with trucks that don't have humans behind the wheel.
Okay.
Right. And I know that that's being developed and being
completely
worked on. I think it's a phenomenal technology. But what happened? I mean, our cab industry used to be pretty prevalent. It didn't go away.
Yes.
It's still there.
Yep.
What does that transition look like? I have no idea.
Okay.
It's hard to answer. But I think there's an evolution in any of these progressions. There's an evolution in any of the things that you've mentioned in the past that have gone away and people have had to find another career.
Right,
I mean,
right.
You look back to the days when people used to travel from development to development and build cathedrals and work with their hands, the masons. Sure. And when work went away, you moved on, you found more work. Right. And that work, went away and they developed something new and those people had to find other things to do. So,
I think I'm going to jump in a little bit here. I think with the advancements of AI. And like I was telling you before, I have this thirst for more information, more learning. This gives me the ability to change what I feel my purpose in life is.
Yeah.
I'm able to give more information to people. I'm able to do something. I'm still able to have a personal connection. And I'll bet you, if you asked everyone out in the on the airs listening to the show to raise their hand, would you rather talk to a robot on the phone, robotic voice, or a human? The majority of the time, when it's an empathetic situation, I just need help, I don't know how to ask the question, they're going to want to speak to a human. There are sometimes you're going to go, you know what, just make me, I'll press 1 for this, I'll press 2 for that. That's automation.
Yeah.
Okay. That little part is automation. Just get me to the right person by pressing the right number.
Not AI automation.
Right. That's just automation. Yeah. And let me press this number directly to get to that person. That's automation. But then to take it the next step further and say, for certain problems, I would rather talk to artificial intelligence who will take all the emotion out of it and just get me the answer as quickly as possible. Okay. And just take care of it. We talked about some of the bigger businesses, how they just said the quickest way to do this is refund your money or something like that. Right. Yeah. And I think that's important. But to answer my own question about what happens about job loss, right? There will still be positions where a human being is needed on the phone.
Agreed.
There is going to be still points in time where a human being's creativity and working and saying, well, what if? Wouldn't it be great if we could get the computer software to do this for us?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great to make this easier for us? Wouldn't it be great if these colors, these looks, this human interaction, what is going to happen, which I believe happens probably over and over again with technology, is we quickly move away from human interaction. And then life is like this pendulum and we swing back where we go, I just need to touch someone.
Yeah.
I just need to talk to someone. I need to see someone face to face.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's going to be a long time, hopefully never, that we'll lose that.
Yeah. And I don't think we do. And I think we swing back closer or faster than you think. And, when we look at like the client experience, right?
Yeah.
There's always going to be that need. I mean, how many times you pick up the phone and you're like, I just want somebody to just answer the phone. Just pick up the phone.
Yeah.
How things happen in the background really don't matter.
Right.
But they want that upfront, whatever. And what's really cool is there is technology. It's already being implemented.
Yeah.
Where that person on the phone is no longer a person on the phone.
Right.
And you don't know the difference because there is empathy. There's tonal changes in the voice. But it's faster, more efficient, and understands what you're looking to do.
Yep.
Almost better than a human does.
Right.
So you take that all out of the picture. And in some cases you can teach it, train it to do things a whole lot faster than that human on the phone would be able to do, right? That task, whatever it is. And most of it is task oriented. That I see. It's not, and those tasks can all be trained through different systems. So I think like that stuff, I think is going to be, it's going to change. It's going to, especially with our call centers. We look at how our call centers are handled. We did the one we were talking about on the way over was Amazon. Yeah. Like my wife and I at some point in time ended up with 2 Prime accounts and it hit my card. It must've been like shortly after we were married. And I saw the charge come through. I'm like, I'm dreading this, right? I'm dreading picking up the phone,
trying to fight a behemoth like Amazon.
I gotta talk to these people and try and get this refunded. And it literally took me like 3 minutes, and it was very little interaction. I don't think I even talked to somebody.
Yeah,
I think I went on and there were a couple prompts, and the prompts knew that I was calling for something like this. But within seconds, my $99 or whatever was refunded back, and it was just instantaneous. But I think we look at the way call centers are handled. Most people hate them.
Yep.
And they hate them because I got to call and I got to either go through these voice prompts or I got to call and I got to re-explain my problem 18 times.
Yes.
Well, that's a people problem.
Right.
So why don't we just get rid of the people?
Yeah. But my question is then what happens with those people? What if I'm one of those people we're getting rid of?
Yeah.
All right. I don't want to be that person.
No.
Right. Yeah.
But I think you as a client would be happier if you didn't have to call a business and complain about a problem with your internet service at home,
right?
And then have them transfer you to somebody else. You had to explain it again, and then have them transfer you to somebody else and have to explain it again. And by the time you get done, you're like, forget it. I give up. I'll just pay the extra money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Or do you have call in and have that being whatever the thing, pick up the phone and be able to handle your problem, issue, and question immediately and do everything,
right,
and not have to transfer you. I think from a client experience standpoint, I think it's a way better proposition, and it makes way more sense. Do I want somebody to pick up the phone when I call? Absolutely,
yes,
I do.
Yes.
Right. And I think maybe there's somewhere where that works. And then in that case, we use AI in the background,
right,
to process the menial tasks.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Maybe I needed to go fetch some data, or I needed to go, make a change to this person's account, or whatever the case. Handle all that for me, because you're faster at it than I am. And at the end of the day, it's just task work. I'm just logging into systems and doing this and making that change or whatever. Fine, go do all that and then come back. But the person still talk to me. And maybe that's the route that works for some businesses. And I think other businesses, as this progresses, the way that the AI voice chat bots are working,
yeah,
I'd be hard pressed to tell you that you can tell the difference if you're actually talking to someone or not.
Correct. And it's only getting better and better.
Yeah.
But now I'm gonna tell you the flip side of what you just said about when you call up and AI takes care of your problems and shows empathy. And I love that. I really wish we would go more through the evolution of right now saying, I am an AI assistant. I have been trained to listen to your problem and do that introduction.
Many of them do.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wish more of them would, because then that would get me more used to dealing with the AI assistant. Okay. And I wouldn't feel like I'm being taken advantage of. I wouldn't feel like I'm being tricked. But here's a scenario I just had yesterday. I went to a print shop not too far from me, and I needed some stuff printed. Now, what was neat was, in the middle of last year, they had this promotion. You spend so much money and you get this mega card, right? 50% off all your printing for 1 year. And I was like, all right, so I'm paying up front for so much printing. I know how much printing I do. So I was like, this is a bargain. So I go there yesterday, get something printed, had to repeat the instructions of, I need 11 by 17 sheets of paper. You want 17 of these? No, I know 11 inches by 17 inches. That sheets of paper.
Right.
Yeah, we have those. And I'm like, good. I just need you to make 6 copies of this file that's on this. And they were like, okay. And it just took longer to get that done. Then I had to ask them some questions about some adhesive paper, all of this. And at the end, they were done. And you just see him clicking away on the computer, completely lost, where you get to the point where you want to grab the computer and turn it around and go, let me do this, right? He even looked at me and he goes, it's quicker if you just send in the information through the computer, because the computer then connects directly to it and it tells us where to load the paper, right? Yeah. I'm like, okay, but this is fine. I'm coming here to pick it up, so I just figured I'd bring it to you and you'd put it in here, right?
Yeah.
Went through, took so long, then finally checking out. He goes through the whole thing and I'm like, remember, I'm part of this deal here. And he goes, oh, do you have a card or anything like that? I'm like, no, I didn't get a card. You look it up in the system. Here's my phone number, right? And he's clicking away, staring at the screen. God only knows what's on there. It looks like he was probably playing Angry Birds on the other side of the register, right? Finally, he pulls it all up, goes through the whole thing. He goes, okay, yeah, I got your discount and everything. He goes, okay, that'll be like $12. And I go, no, it won't be $12. I've already paid for this up front. I paid for this last year.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, I don't think that's how it works. Right. And longer and longer, I had to spend so much time there explaining his process to him till he finally goes, you know what, I'll save this and name somebody like Betty. When Betty comes in tomorrow, she'll finish the transaction.
So let me ask you this. Yeah. Are you excited to go back and do that again?
Oh gosh, no. Of course not.
So what happens to their retention?
Yeah, exactly. Because they can't well, first off, their customer retention. No. If they had, it would be really easy to look at that and say, I'm going to open a completely automated service right next door.
Yeah.
And take all their business.
Yeah.
Right. And it would be sad because I'd be putting them out of business, but that shows a lack of true training for their employees.
It does.
And it's, I don't care. Let's just say the guy goes, you know what? I've never seen this process before. They trained me on it once. Let me just grab the instruction booklet and I'll run through it. Just please, sir, give me 1 second. But he didn't even show empathy for me.
Yeah.
He was just lost.
Yeah.
Okay. And so there's still a need for humans there.
Yeah.
Because somebody's got to load that paper in that printer.
Sure.
Okay? All right. And I hate to say that's the menial task, but that's what needs to happen. Next time, what am I going to do? I'm just going to order it through via the internet.
Yeah.
And then come there and do the curbside pickup.
Right.
So I don't even have to go into the store.
Exactly.
All right. And that's what's sad, because the idea they want me in the store so that I can see the other things that are for sale there. And while I'm waiting, I might buy something else.
Right.
So automation's got some good sides and some bad sides to it. But immediately, that's a perfect example of where I would rather use automation than dealing with a person.
When I think about those, I think about the print shop / store where they sell, office supplies, things like that.
Sure.
And I think about the one that's in town by my house.
Yeah.
And I don't ever have to worry about going in there and it being busy, because I'm usually the only one in that store.
Yeah.
And I think that's partially self-inflicted. I think that, and we don't need to get into the evolution of Amazon and all that other stuff, but realistically, they do things that Amazon doesn't do.
Yeah.
But it's difficult.
Right.
It's hard to go get that done. Right.
Yeah,
so, I think we look at that, at your experience as a client. That was not a good one, and not one that's going to drive you back into their store to do anything anytime quickly. And again, ultimately just impacts retention. I heard a guy say something this weekend, and it stuck with me, and it was kind of an aha moment. And we looked at how can we take technology.
Yep.
And the thought process is, okay, I have this thing I do for my job.
Right.
This thing takes me 16 steps.
Yeah.
Right. And on the outside, you would say, well, how can I shorten that by using technology? How can I make that 16-step process 8 steps?
Yes.
Or 4 steps?
Right.
Well, he brought up a good point. Well, why do that process at all?
Yeah.
Right. What if we can eliminate that piece of what you do completely by utilizing technology?
That's it.
Now, what have we done to your productivity?
Right.
Now, what have we done to now in my business? I'm in a people relationship business, right? And a lot of what we do, the time consuming part of what we do, has to do with data entry and data, putting things into different systems and moving things around and logging in over here and logging in over here and okay. So we took time and on the base level, I look at it, well, okay, this is very complicated. How can we streamline this process? How can we, and we write it all down, and I look at it and I go, we can do this. And I spent, years looking at our processes going, let's get as efficient as possible.
Right.
But never thought, like, well, why do we even do that? Right. How can I utilize technology? How can I utilize AI to log into these systems for me and go do this stuff for me? And now where do I spend my time? Talking to you.
Exactly.
Right.
All right. So I'm going to
pause.
Come back to that, because we're going to take a little pause here to thank the people who are so good to the station, but we will be right back. So please do not go away.
Broadcasting on 98.3 The Life is brought to you in part by the law offices of O'Keefe, Lewis, and Bruno, PC. 98.3 The Life has an ongoing commitment to Lake County and local high school sports broadcasting. O'Keefe, Lewis, and Bruno also has that commitment and is privileged to support high school sports on local radio. If O'Keefe, Lewis, and Bruno can assist you in a real estate transaction or traffic matter, they can be reached at 847-675-4790. O'Keefe, Lewis, and Bruno, dedicated to serving our community.
Hey, cats and kittens. Join me, Gray Dolan, Sunday mornings at 11 for Mood Swings with Gray Dolan. Each week we'll visit a different genre, style, and mood of music here on The Life 98.3.
Hi, I'm Country Chuck. Tune into my show Mondays from 11 to 1. I play all the oldies from 50s to current hits here at 98.3 FM, The Life.
WRLR 98.3 FM LP, Round Lake Beach, Illinois.
Hello and welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for staying tuned in to 98.3 FM, The Life. You're listening to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness, and I'm talking about the AI hype. Is it something that we should be afraid of, or is it going to be helpful or hurtful? And I'm here with my good buddy, my friend, Joe Janicki. And we've been having a deep discussion already. We've still got another 30 minutes, the last half of the show, to cover some more things. So if you miss any part of the show, definitely tune in later this week to the podcast, which is Bacon Bits with Master Happiness, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Catch the rest of this. This has really been a cool discussion already, and we're going to get into this with some more detail. So, Joe, where we kind of left off was this fear piece, and the show is called Bacon Bits because everything that bacon touches is just a little bit better. So I wrote the acronym BACON because we're not talking about the bacon for chewing.
We're talking about the bacon for doing.
There you go. Good. I'm glad you were there. Some of my guests don't know the end of that saying. So today, the BACON that I want to talk about is overcoming our fears of bacon. And I want to touch upon these as we continue our conversation, because there's a few other things we want to talk on. But B is we have to learn to be open to learning. That's the biggest thing. There's too many people that saying, I've learned enough. I'm out of school. I'm done. I don't want to learn nothing about nothing no more. Right. A is assess the benefits and the costs. Really take a look at this. There's so many different programs, apps, software that we can purchase that will help us with AI. Just assess the benefits that we're getting. Don't get caught up in so much in the hype. C is collaborate with experts. Okay. Reach out to people who use it. Look for that social support. Ask some businesses, and there are plenty of businesses that will help you with what you're missing from your business or your life. O is going to be optimize gradually. Don't jump into it and think it's going to solve all your problems. All right. We're definitely encouraging you to jump into the AI game, but do it gradually so that you feel comfortable. There's nothing worse than having multiple programs or something like that to help you with that are duplicates of each other. And then N is network with AI enthusiasts. And that's a little bit different than collaborate with experts. What I'm talking about is talk to people who are excited about it. No good will come from you hanging out with people who are a bunch of naysayers saying, no, stay away from it, because whatever you feel about AI and this advancement in technology, it is here and it's happening, and there is nothing we can do that's going to stop it. So it's time to embrace it and understand the benefits of it. Stop using it as something to be afraid of, and instead say, this is something I should be excited about, something I should move forward towards. So, Joe, I wanted to just jump back to this other thing about some of the fears we get of AI. One of the other big fears is privacy concerns. All right. So people are so afraid going, I don't want the world to know all this stuff about me. All right. And it can be really spooky. All right. And there was some statistic a while ago where it would say, you'd go to a restaurant and it used to be you pay with cash, right? Yeah. And then you say, here, I'm handing over a credit card, and they would take the credit card to the back room, or they'd run it through a machine, right? And that's giving so much information, right? And you have to trust the banks that you work with. You have to trust the places that you do business with. And you have to understand that there's a certain amount of your privacy that you're giving up and that you're giving to the world. Okay. So you sell insurance, right?
I do.
And so there's probably a few things that people might be apprehensive to give you certain information because they want to know what's going on. Yeah. So you got any stories about privacy concerns and how is technology and AI going to change that? How can we alleviate some of that fear from people?
First of all, it's too late.
Yeah. All right. I'm agreeing with that.
I hate to break the news to society, but your information's out there.
Yes.
And how many apps do we have where people go out and they put all their personal crap out there, right? It's not hard to find information on people. It's all there. And most of it we put out there on our own. So with regards to your information and privacy, and forget privacy left us a long, long time ago.
Right.
We all live pretty public lives these days. With Facebook or Instagram or whatever else. It's just, here, look at what I'm doing. Right. Our information is out there. You've got, electronic medical records now. You've got, all kinds of stuff. They're looking at, analyzing DNA and things like that they're going to use, machines to help understand disease and
right.
So, and it's already in the works. So, so I think as far as the privacy concern, we can forget privacy. The days of of securing. I mean, are there things that are secure and need to stay secure? Bank account numbers, social security numbers, things like that. Sure, absolutely. But as a general rule, I think your privacy, as we consider it private, is not. It's gone. It's gone.
Right.
And we did it. We did it ourselves. We gave it up. We didn't.
Yeah.
How many disclaimers have you signed on
those end user license agreements?
Yeah.
That you check the box. Did you read this?
Yeah. Right.
And do you agree? And you just check it without.
Well, I mean, how many people missed the one that Facebook put out back in, I don't know, early 2012, 2013, something like that. I forget when it came out, but basically said that they could turn on your microphone and camera at any point in time and listen and whatever. And they do.
Right.
How many ads do you get on your phone now that, because you had a conversation with somebody like, oh, maybe he wants to buy these shoes.
Right.
Right. Now you got ads for the next week. Right.
Yeah.
Your privacy anything and everything is listening.
But you have to view that. And I think here's the important thing is you have to view that type of a thing as a cure, not a curse.
Yeah.
All right. So the idea of if I'm chatting and I'm talking and I'm saying, wow, I really wish I had a pair of those shoes. And all of a sudden ads came to me. The manufacturer of those shoes are going to go, this is a person who is a potential client, a customer. What I'm going to do is offer him a discount. All right. And suddenly I might get a discount on something I want that I wouldn't have normally gotten.
Right.
All right. And so what they're doing is they're trying to say, I want to sell my product. And if I can find the right people and I can entice you with a little bit of a better price, or a better deal, a better, hey, if you buy this, we'll throw in this, etc. It's affordable for them to do that because they found you easier.
Well, they did. And it's extreme targeted marketing.
Yes.
And don't think they don't play on the dopamine response too.
Oh my God, completely.
They know that, hey, this is a hot time to strike. Let's strike. Right.
Yes.
So they know how to play that. And it's really, I've been watching this, kind of grow over the years. And I think it's really cool for a business to be able to get that targeted in your marketing. It used to be like, well, I'm gonna market to this zip code or this area code, and you couldn't really dial into the person who lives on this particular street who likes to buy Nikes.
Exactly. Right.
And I want to advertise to that person right
Correct.
there. I don't need his neighbor because his neighbor doesn't wear them. But I need that guy, and to be able to figure that out through data. And thank you, Google, for being like the largest data warehouse in the world. I mean, that's what they sell is data, right? And being able to pinpoint, that's my client, and that's who I'm going to market to.
Now, from the business standpoint, I think the businesses love that, right? But I think the average consumer says, I don't like that. This is the whole idea of you learn too much about me and you're targeting me. And I think we have to view it differently. And this is what I'm saying is you are only going to be targeted with those things that you showed interest in. All right. A lot of people say, I took a look at the algorithm on my Facebook or Instagram. It's filled with the stuff that I want nothing to do with. I'm going to go, nah, I don't believe that.
No, that's what you're searching for.
Yeah, exactly. You're looking at that, and that's why it's popping up in front of you.
Right.
There are certain things that they will test the waters and say, let me throw this out in front of you, see if you're interested in this. If you're interested, they're going to go, then I'm going to throw you more of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the cool thing that most people don't understand is the algorithm is not in control of you. You are in control of the algorithm.
Yeah.
All right. I've done this thing on Instagram where I purposely said for the next week, I'm going to go out of my way just searching woodworking. Just really push woodworking. All right. And just look at every single thing. Watch full videos, watch them over and over again, search for other related things. And then before you know it, I open it up one day and my entire suggested videos all woodworking, because that's exactly how it works.
Yep.
So anyone who says they open it up and they go, oh, take a look at this. This is really interesting. I like, why is this? I don't know why they put all of that on my feed. It's because that's what you're interested in.
Right.
Okay. And so the fact that you can change what the algorithm is trying to put in front of you, because all they want to do is they want to support you. They want to entertain you with what you find entertaining.
And keep you engaged.
So that an advertiser can throw something out in front of you.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing with television.
Yeah.
Television put commercials that were appropriate for the cartoon or the show that was going on there.
Yep.
They were just targeting the audience. So it's no different. But this is the first time.
Oh, it's extremely different.
It
is extremely targeted.
Well, it's extremely, but it's in the basics of it is I'm going to put the ad in front of my target audience.
Yeah.
Now I have a much more targeted audience. But what this is, I have a greater chance of saying, I want to see ads about this.
Yeah.
I have that opportunity to push that.
Well, ultimately, haven't they just made your life easier?
Definitely.
Because we're getting to a point where I don't have to go looking for things anymore. They just appear.
Right.
They're just everything and anything that I want is right in front of me always.
Well, they joke about Amazon doing that, that suddenly you'll start getting shipments for things you were thinking about.
Yeah.
Because they can almost read your mind at this point.
Yeah.
Based on all of this, we believe you might also like this. So we're going to ship it to you. If you don't like it, just send it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's going to be interesting because when they really start doing that and I start going, you know what? I just got this shipped. Oh, this is pretty interesting. I did look at a couple ads. Yeah. What the heck? It's here. I'll take it. Right. And that's that big next step where they're really concentrating, thinking about what you want to do next.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's cool.
So one of the things I want to talk about, Joe, is because we touched on privacy, and you're right. We are there's a certain amount of my private life and all that's out there for people to look at because they've analyzed me. They know my age, they know my weight, they know everything like that.
They know all about your family, your kids,
everything.
your wife, everything. It's
everything. So they know how to pitch products to me, and that's what it's about. But I want to touch on identity theft. Okay. And I want to touch on this, where this is the dark side of AI, where you had talked about how they can mimic a voice. All right. That is very, very close to human sounding. And even more so, you probably heard those stories where what they'll do is they'll find your voice.
Yeah.
And then I'll get a call from a strange number and I'll hear Joe's voice. Hey, Marty. Oh my God. I just need your help here. All right. I'm stranded. I'm using the tow truck driver's phone. Okay, please help me out. And I'd be like, what do you need, Joe? Well, I got no cash. I left my wallet. Can you just give him it's a $50 for the tow. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll pay you.
Yeah.
All right. And it's so easy, so convincing that it's really difficult for me to go, okay, sure. I'll just do that. All right. And that kind of stuff is one of these things we really have to be able to come and overcome that and understand that's not AI doing that. This is not an entity that's surviving. That is a malicious person or people who are using that tool for nefarious reasons. Yeah. Okay. Just like anything else, a pencil, you put a pencil in one person's hand, they can draw a beautiful picture. Put it in somebody else's hand, they can stab you with it.
Right.
Okay. So AI is just a tool. So don't be afraid of AI, but be cautious, become smart. This is where we continue to learn and grow. And so in most of those situations, I get these things, these emails all the time that are saying, oh, your Facebook account's about to be shut down. Okay. Hey, Marty, there's a problem with your bank. Here, press this link and we will fix this for you. All kinds of things like this. They're phishing for my information.
Yeah.
So I get phone calls from people saying, hey, there was a problem here, blah, 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 whatever the information is. And so what I want to do is all the time, and I encourage you to do this, say, thank you very much. Good information. I'm going to call the company direct. I'm going to hang up with you, okay, and call the company direct. I do a lot of, and I don't know if you do this, Joe, I'll get those calls where I'm suspect of who I'm talking to, and I'm in front of my computer and I'll Google the phone number. And then it's amazing because it doesn't come up. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. You say you're calling me from the bank, but yet this is not one of the bank numbers. This is in a lot of numbers that are potential scams.
Right.
All right. And so it's just really important. The first rule of defense for me is if you feel a little eerie about it, little shaky about it, don't go through with it. Say, I'll tell you what, cool. What's your name?
Call you back.
Yeah. And I will call them back directly just for my own safety.
Yeah.
Anybody who's on the phone who says, you don't have to do that, I'm already here. If they're stopping you from that would make me very leery.
Yeah.
Anybody at a bank, anybody at a store is all going to say, yeah, go right ahead. Please call.
Yeah. And we've noticed an uptick in the phishing scams.
Sure.
We've got voicemail phishing now.
Yeah.
We use a system for our phones called Ring Central, and I get emails literally every single week.
Yeah.
That say you have a new voicemail from so-and-so. Listen to it. The email is spot on identical to the email I would receive from Ring Central.
Right.
But there's just something off about it. And you look at the quality in some of these that they're putting together, it's scary.
Yeah.
And the volume that we get is just incredible, but they're so good. They can mimic a website or mimic a voicemail. It's so good,
right?
That it's scary what they can do. So you do have to be cautious, and I agree with you 100%. Like if something doesn't look right, sound right, smell right, whatever,
just step away.
Yeah, go take it into your own hands and do it on your own. Get away from the one that came to you.
Exactly. So there was an old Twilight Zone episode. I don't know if you've ever seen this or if you used to watch the Twilight Zone. Okay, about a guy, a banker, or he worked someplace. But somebody sends him a letter and says, "Hey, Saturday night's fight, Jackson is going to win in the second round," right? Or something like that, right? And so the guy's like ignores it, like who cares about that, right? And he gets the prediction correct. The next week, he says, "All right, Thompson is going to win this fight," and he wins it again. And after 9 of these wins in a row, the guy who's receiving this anonymous tip, this letter, because this is back in the day prior to the internet, gets this letter and says, wow, this guy he's getting them all right. And finally, the 10th letter comes and says, you have to understand, I have this power that I can predict all the winners, but I can't bet any money on it. I can't do it for myself. If I bet on it myself, okay, what happens is it never works out, or I don't know how to predict it. So I need people like you to go ahead and place a large enough bet and just promise me that you'll give me some of the winnings, right? And so somebody goes, well, why not do that? What if I get to lose? The guy picked 9 in a row, correct, right? And then what ends up happening in that show, it worked out okay, but he embezzles money from his company or his bank, makes the bet, and luckily it worked out. It was a win. But they explained the scam, and the scam was the guy sends out like 1,000 letters, 500 saying this guy will win, 500 saying this guy will win. All right, whoever wins, now he's got a targeted audience of 500 people. Yeah. So now he said it's 250 one way, 250 other, and he keeps whittling it down till he's got a handful of people that think he picked 9 winners in a row, right? And you think about that. That was done with the mail.
Yeah.
With AI right now, and the email process, you're talking about starting with hundreds of thousands of emails that can be sent out, and they can make a promise to you that you think there's no way they could know that. And it doesn't matter, because if they're wrong, they just don't email you again.
Right.
But if they're right, they come back again and again, and they keep narrowing it down until you are convinced this person's 100% right.
Crazy.
So it's that kind of stuff, that type of playing, that I wish people that were that ingenious, that creative to come up with that process, that they would spend that time for good versus that evil, right? But that just shows you that there are evil people out there. No matter what process, no matter what technology is put in front of them, there will be people using it for evil ways.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's up to you to protect yourself. And so it's up to you. Remember, we talked about the B in bacon was be open to learning. You have to continue to learn this. You learned to drive a car. You were not afraid of driving a car. You didn't say, oh, that's scary technology. I'll learn to do that. There are people who they learn to go grocery shopping. They learn to read labels. These are things that technology has changed and grown and stuff like this. And you have to understand that there's always going to be good people and bad people. There were always people on the street trying to scam you one way or another. Now this is a different frontier.
Yeah, and I'm looking I'm on San Diego University's website, and they're talking about fraud detection, and there's actually companies like IBM that are working on providing tasks that have advanced deep learning tools to prevent fraud, and there's some banks that are deploying machine learning models that can detect suspicious transactions in real time, stop it immediately from happening, and alert authorities automatically.
Yes. Nice.
So it works in reverse, like, and I think with machine learning, you can teach it what you're looking for, and it learns so much faster, and it's so much better than us,
right?
Because it's specific in what it's looking for, and it might pick up something you didn't even think about.
Exactly.
So I know that there is a lot of fear, from privacy to it's going to take over the world to I'm going to lose my job. And, maybe your job then becomes working in the technology field that's operating AI or helping develop AI tools, right? There's transitions for all of that. But ultimately, I think it's a really exciting time to be alive.
Yes.
I think it's really cool what we've got at our fingertips and what it can do and the power of it and the things that I no longer have to think about doing. And to be completely honest, it's a lot better at most of it than I am. You were talking about creating graphics earlier.
Right.
And I think about that, like you used to have to sit and draw that out, right? And have to do all that anymore, right? Like how many writing tools do we have where let's just say somebody's not really good at explaining something via email.
Right.
But I'm really good at prompting AI and how I want it written, right?
Yeah.
So that person can go out and script something with the help of AI and just tell it what it wants. And I'll give you the tone. How do I want it to sound?
Yep.
How do I want it to come out? Where somebody might have sat there and overthought for hours to try and figure out the right way to word something or the right words to say. And you know what? We look at hiring, right?
Right.
You come to me with, you developed your resume with AI. I don't care.
No,
I don't care. You know
exactly.
what? It's more impressive to me that you knew how to do it to make it right.
Yes.
Right. So you didn't do it on your own. So what? So the email you sent me about getting in for an interview was scripted with AI. Good for you.
Right.
I think that it shows the initiative that you are willing to learn to use a tool to make sure that you present yourself in the best way possible.
Correct.
And I think that in itself speaks volumes to who you are and where we're going. I think it's just, there's nothing in my mind to be afraid of, only excitement for where we're going and all that we haven't even tapped into yet.
I'm digging it. You're absolutely right. Think about this, is that when ChatGPT, the first version came out, right? And I used to have these statistics about how it ran and why it was easier to detect. All right. People were writing term papers and essays for school using ChatGPT to write these things. But because the knowledge base for that AI was so limited, there were programs that could dig into it and say, there's a 99% chance that is AI written, right? And teachers had that program to say, this is fake, you didn't really write this, okay? But I look back at this and saying, there were plenty of times that as a young student, I faked term papers. I faked essays all the time. I copied something out of a book. I don't want to get into that too much, but I did that. That type of plagiarism in order to make myself look better has always existed. This is just a step beyond. And so I talked with some teachers and said, so what are we supposed to do? Because now this advanced AI, that the AI programs can't detect if it's real or if it's AI because it's so advanced. I'm like, cool. Yeah. Just like you said, congratulate the students who can harness the technology, because you currently teach mathematics to students and let them use calculators.
Right.
Okay. And so the day you say, we'll get rid of AI, you have to write this in class in front of me. Cool. Then tell them get rid of the calculator too. Yep. Let them do it without technology. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think as long as you can say they survived using calculators, a piece of technology, they can survive with using the technology that's going to do the writing for them. Yet you really want to test the student. You really want to test a potential client who writes their resume or their essay in AI. Get them to stand up in front of the room and explain why they wrote that.
Yeah.
Okay. And if they go, I don't know, I didn't read it. Okay. Yeah. Here's my resume. I've never read it.
Sure.
Okay.
And you can tell when they proofread something. You can tell. I mean, you got to look through everything, right? We're not there yet. We're pretty darn close.
Yeah.
But I think you take me back to when my daughter was in school, and I remember sitting through a meeting with her teachers. And we're talking about math, right? And she had a page of notes on how she got to the solution that they were looking for in this test.
Okay.
And you look at the calculator situation, right? And with mathematics, they used to teach, well, you have to do it a certain way, and it has to be laid out, and this is the format, and whatever. And listen, do you understand the concept?
Right.
We need to solve for C, and I'm going to take A and B, and do I know how to make that work? However I make it work,
yes,
as long as I get the concept
correct.
That's all that matters.
It's
the concept.
Yeah.
Like how I got there,
right.
Who cares?
Exactly.
I got there, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny, my mom gives me a hard time because I worked in the finance office at a dealership, and I was the worst math student in the world. Like math was my nemesis. And she's like, how did this ever happen? And it's realistically because I knew how to get to the answer.
Yeah.
I understood the concept. I can calculate a lease. I know like the concepts I understand. Do I use a calculator or an adding machine in my case? Absolutely.
Right. Why wouldn't you?
I don't memorize all that. I can't do all the numbers in my head, but I can get you there faster than anybody else by just typing. So it's a concept, right? No different than using it for your writing.
Correct.
Right? I think, you understand the concept. Do I use it to phrase it differently? And like, oh, that sounds way better than what I was thinking.
Right.
But I understood what I was trying to say. I prompted it the way I wanted it to be prompted, and I utilized the tools that I had at my hands to make it better.
All right. Hey, Joe, it is 8:00. Our hour is up. All right. I know this went really quickly when I was thinking, let's see how we're going to do here. Any closing thoughts?
No, I think the biggest closing thought I have is don't fear, get excited.
Yeah.
See how it can help you in your life and run with it and start using it. Jump in and just let's get excited.
I got you. I'm listening. I'm digging what you're laying down. All right. I'm going to go with this whole idea. AI is not in the future. It is in the present. It is here already. So just get used to it. It is lean into it, use it because it's here to stay. All right. And with that, thank you guys so very much for tuning into the show. If you want to listen more about it and talk and listen to two live people, this is not AI driven show. This is two live people chatting about it. If you want to listen more or tune in again, follow us on our podcast, which is Bacon Bits with Master Happiness, anywhere that you listen to podcasts. So thank you very much and see you next week.
Thanks.
WRLR 98.3 FM LP, Round Lake Beach, Illinois.